Today we will learn about the new chapter, pair of linear equations in two variables. In this chapter, we will discuss what are the pair of linear equations in two variables, and then we will discuss the graphical representations of pair of linear equations in two variables. After this, we will study the graphical solution for the pair of linear equations in two variables, as well as the algebraic solution for the pair of linear equations in two variables. In the algebraic solution, we have three different methods of solutions. The first method is the substitution method, the second method is the elimination method, and the third method is the cross multiplication method. And finally, we will discuss about the equations reducible to the pair of linear equations in two variables. In this chapter, we will learn all of these topics thoroughly. Now we will discuss the pair of linear equations in two variables. We already know that what is linear equation in one variable. Linear equation in one variable is represented as ax plus b is equal to 0, where a cannot be equal to 0. Now similarly, the linear equation in two variable is represented as ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. We will see in this topic how the given situation can be represented in the form of equations. Let us consider a situation here. It has the standard form as ax plus b is equal to 0, where a is not equal to 0, and where only x is the unknown and a and b are the constant. Here we can see that we have only one variable, that is x. Let us learn it in this way. Suppose I want to buy fruits and I go to a fruit shop. I see several fruits there and I decide to buy apples, where the cost of one apple is equal to rupees 5. I checked my pockets and found out that I have rupees 50 with me. So I decided to spend all of it. Well, now I start calculating how many apples I would get for rupees 50, and I figured out that this can be represented in equation form. That is, I can represent this situation as price of one apple into number of apples is equal to 50. We could also write this as 5 into x is equal to 50, where x is number of apples. We can calculate the value of x as x is equal to 50 divided by 5, that is x is equal to 10. So here in this equation 5x is equal to 50, we could observe that there is only one variable to be calculated, that is x. We could say that this is linear equation in one variable. This was all about linear equation in one variable. Let us discuss linear equations in two variables. Suppose instead of buying only apples, I wanted to buy apples as well as oranges, and the price of one apple is equal to rupees 5 and the price of one orange is equal to rupees 10. As I start calculating number of apples and number of oranges I would get in rupees 50, I found out that this also can be expressed in the form of equation. That is, price of one apple into number of apples plus price of one orange into number of orange is equal to rupees 50. Or we could write this as 5 into x plus 10 into y is equal to 50, where x is equal to number of apples and y is equal to number of oranges. We can observe that the equation 5x plus 10y is equal to 50 is a linear equation in two variables x and y. We could write this equation as 5x plus 10y minus 50 is equal to 0. What we have done here is we have just shifted 50 to the left hand side. The standard form of linear equations in two variables is given as ax plus by plus c is equal to 0, where the condition is a square plus b square should not be equal to 0. If we compare the equation 5x plus 10y is equal to 50 to the standard form of linear equations, we can say that a is equal to 5, b is equal to 10 and c is equal to minus 50. So when we calculate the values of x and y which satisfies the equation, we can see that if we substitute the value of x as 2, then we would get the value of y as 4, right? Similarly, if we substitute the value of x as 4, we would get the value of y as 3. Or if we substitute the value of x as 6, we would get the value of y as 2. So here number of values of x and y which satisfies this equation. But then I am a little bit confused whether to buy 2 apples and 4 oranges, or 4 apples and 3 oranges, or 6 apples and 2 oranges. So I thought that I love oranges more, so let me buy oranges more. So I decided to buy twice the number of oranges as I buy the apples. Number of oranges is equal to 2 into number of apples. Or we could represent this as y is equal to 2x, right guys? Now here we have two equations that we have formed. The first equation is 5x plus 10y is equal to 50, and the second equation is y is equal to 2x, and both the equations are in two variables, that is x comma y. This is what is called as pair of linear equations in two variables. We could see that here we have two variables as well as two equations. So there are two unknowns to solve in these equations. In this chapter, we would only learn about this kind of equations. So now, to solve these equations, we have many methods. The first method is the trial and error method. The second method is algebraic method, or third method is the graphical method. We will learn these methods, algebraic method and graphical method, later in this chapter. Let us solve this equation by trial and error. Suppose if we take the value of x comma y as 4 comma 3 as we have formed in the table, or as we have seen in the table, if we substitute the value of x is equal to 4 and y is equal to 3 in the first equation, that is 5x plus 10y is equal to 50, we can clearly see that in the left hand side the equation would be converted to 5 into 4 plus 10 into 3, that is equal to 20 plus 30, that is equal to 50. So here in the first equation we have found that LHS is equal to RHS. When we substitute 4 comma 3 in the second equation, that is y is equal to 2x, we can clearly see that 3 is equal to 2 into 4. That means 3 is equal to 8. This is not valid, right? So the second equation, if we substitute x is equal to 4 and y is equal to 3, the equation does not satisfy. That means the value of x is equal to 4 and value of y is equal to 3, or we can say this as 4 comma 3, is not the solution of this pair of this equation, because it does not satisfy both of the equations. Let us take another values of x and y here. If we take the value of x as 2 and the value of y as 4, that means 2 comma 4, we can clearly see that for the first equation, that is 5x plus 10y is equal to 50, if we substitute the value of x is equal to 2 and y is equal to 4, the left hand side of this equation would be 5 into 2 plus 10 into 4, that is equal to 10 plus 40, that is equal to 50. That means LHS is equal to RHS. For the second equation, y is equal to 2x, if you substitute y is equal to 4 and x is equal to 2, we get that 4 is equal to 2 into 2, therefore 4 is equal to 4, which clearly satisfies the equation. So we can say that the values 2 comma 4 is the solution of given pair of equations, right? And the values 4 comma 3 is not the solution of pair of equations. That means the values of x comma y which satisfies both the equation is called the solution of equation or the zeros of equations.